I'm sure nobody is going to see this video, but for those of you that did click on my video, hi, I'm King Husker IV and I'm going to talk about Kyle Larson's racial slur incident before it's too late, if it isn't already. I'm releasing this quite late, but I figured since Black Flags Matter, a NASCAR YouTuber, released his video 2 days ago, where he gathers the detail of the incident and proceeds to spew shit on Larson completely opposite of what he said on his Twitter. So Kyle Larson, during a Monza Invitational race on iRacing, threw the N-word with the hard R over his radio chatter. This sparked massive news coverage as Larson got suspended from NASCAR, got suspended, then fired from Chip Ganassi Racing, the team he saved from irrelevancy, and lost many sponsors. The World of Outlaws suggests that Larson takes a small sensitivity training program, and once he starts that, can compete in the World of Outlaws again. After Larson spewed the N-word, many sources called him racist and or stupid. Stupid? Yeah. Racist? Not really. I have yet to see slaves on Larson's property. I yet to see Kyle Larson spit on a Negro and call him a coon just for being black. And most importantly, I have yet to hear Kyle Larson actually insult somebody by using a racial slur.
You can't hear me? Hey, nigger. Wow.
He did use a racial slur, but he wasn't discriminating anybody when he said it. Now, how is that possible? Well, you don't become a racist by saying the N-word the same way you don't become a proctologist by shoving your finger up someone else's ass. Anyways, I'm not justifying anything Larson said, which was pretty much just a one-liner. The N-word has dark origins. It was invented by the white man and was eventually used as a nickname for the slaves by the slave owners. During the slave trade, around 2 million people died being shipped off to various countries, and many millions more died on grounds either due to starvation, murder, or disease. It was pretty much the 5-year plan before the 5-year plan, except it lasted 400 years, between the British, Portuguese, us, and various other countries. Kyle Larson killed 0 people by saying that word. Sure, he shouldn't have said it, and if you're offended, okay, fine. Just say you're offended and disappointed and be done with it, instead of threatening violence towards Larson and the people backing him. Some of these guys never even watch NASCAR a minute in their lives. They come here from the media and go balls deep from there on out. Unlike Darian the Black Flags Matter, where he briefly goes down on the responses of those defending Larson, I'll do the same, but for those frowned upon Larson. A common response that I see is, "Oh, Larson said it so casually! He was raised that way, no doubt!" I feel like a lot of NASCAR drivers were raised that way. I bet your ass that NASCAR drivers in the Wendell Scott era made a new language out of that word alone, more so than the actual slave owners. Also, just because he said something offensive so casually without thinking twice about it doesn't mean he doesn't regret saying it. Plus, unless he's getting beaten, why is it any of your business on how he's raised? Which leads to the next response. He's only upset because he was caught. Yeah, okay, it could be that. Still not worth losing a career over. If that's the case, this brat would no longer be famous.
One less lonely nigga. One less lonely nigga. One less lonely nigga. There's gonna be one less nigga. If I kill you, I'll be part of the KKK. Then there'll be one less lonely nigga. There's gonna be one less lonely nigga.
I think a lot of people would be upset if they were caught. If it means losing their livelihood, I'm sure everyone pissed at him would be mad if they got caught too.
My ancestors were whipped, starved, and the fact that you can use it so
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you right there. I, as well as many generous folks like Larson, by the way, do care for those hurt during the era where slavery was a common theme. It's alright to bear in mind to yourself. I care about your ancestors, but not much about you because you weren't there. You could tell me about any other problem you had personally, and slavery won't be one of them. Unless you were born in Sudan or something. I'll tell you a bit about my ancestry. I'm Irish. I'm not pissed at the British for starving us. I'm German. I'm not pissed at the textbooks for saying that Germany started World War I. They started World War II. I'm Danish. They're part of Scandinavia, and they did more attacking than victimizing, so moving on. And lastly, I'm Cherokee. I'm not like 0.2% or even 2%. I'm on the higher end. I'm like 30% Native American. I'm not pissed at the Europeans killing nearly all the people that were already here just to try and conquer more land. The Native Americans, I think, had it worse than the blacks because while Native Americans are starting to come back, there were barely any for a long time. And one group of people that had it worse than any other group of people in the history of mankind, the Jews. I'm not a Jew. I'm tossed between Lutheranism and Satanism. Some of these people's grandkids were told stories by those who survived the Holocaust. Many of them still didn't live. They were cooked to death. To this day, the Jews are still heavily discriminated. Many hate the fact that the Jews have their very own nation, Israel. Many people hate that they're so smart. They hate them for being wealthy individuals and owning much land across the earth. And many people hate them for looking goofy. Again, I care about the ancestors that suffered, but those that put that into an argument in 2020 is completely invalid. He crossed over into a different community to offend them! Again, some of these guys never watched NASCAR in their lives. Many of those crossed into a different community themselves to ridicule Larson. Hypocrisy much? And finally,
It's 2020!
well, at least calendars are still popular. Also, how about that clown Marcus Stroman, the pitcher for the New York Mets? He suggested that Larson should never be allowed to race in NASCAR ever again. Again, probably someone who never watches NASCAR. And also suggested that Larson should get his ass kicked. Stroman then decides to get personal, attacking Larson's child. Or father. I don't know, it must be the roids talking and not Stroman himself. Stroman responded to Larson's apology via Twitter saying, "It's a shame that your child had to grow up to a racist father. The apple never falls far from the tree. Thank you for continuing to support and allow racism to be present in society. True role model you are." Again, not sure if Stroman is attacking Larson's child or father, because he was responding to Larson like it was Larson's father or child posting it. Why would you go after a 4-year-old and 2-year-old child? Not cool. What if he wasn't attacking Larson's kids and was attacking Larson's father? Oh yeah, Larson's father is so racist. He married a full-blood Japanese woman from a Japanese internment camp and had a child with her. Such a horrible man he is. Here's another issue I want to go over. NBC and NBCSN has hated Larson from even before the incident. They, as well as NASCAR, forced Larson to apologize for jokingly saying that Hendrick Motorsports may be cheating. Other NASCAR drivers say that on a religious basis, but Larson was ordered to apologize or get fined. Keep in mind, Hendrick is the golden child for the sport and happens to cheat quite a bit. NBC ridiculed Larson for racing with broken ribs on his right side. That's right, people complained because he was competing injured. What was even funnier was Larson didn't even know his ribs were broken until 3 weeks later after he broke them. That's kind of badass if you think about it, considering that he has to sustain 3.5 Gs on the left side, pushing him to the right side while strapped. I mean, Chase Elliott could get a pimple and be out for 3 races. NASCAR, NBC, and many NASCAR fans gave Larson lots of scrutiny for saying that he's more keen on winning the Chili Bowl rather than the Daytona 500. The Chili Bowl is a crown jewel event in dirt racing along with the 4 Crown at Eldora and the Knoxville Nationals. Larson likes racing the Chili Bowl more than the Daytona 500. It's just who he is. When Larson finally won the Chili Bowl after nearly a decade of trying, he was forced to publicly apologize to NASCAR and the fans. Now, look at this article. Look at the title. Stroman said that Larson's apology is worthless, should never race in NASCAR, and wants to beat Larson's ass. And attack Larson's father and child. NBC is making Stroman sound so professional, like he's doing something good. Seriously, fuck NBCSN and Stroman. Go Cubs, bitch. Time to conclude this. Yes, Larson is guilty. Yes, Larson should have been punished. No, Larson shouldn't have lost his job. I believe this whole thing is way blown out of proportion. Just saying the N-word, even with the hard R, will result in losing her job. There'd be like 4 drivers on track right now and 0 track workers and crew. Oh, also, real quick, Larson's apology video. I learned that you shouldn't release an apology video. It never works. If Larson didn't release an apology video, he would have been looked down upon for not making an apology video. If he did make an apology video, those same morons won't forgive him and save themselves more time by commenting on how much of a waste of space Larson is. This was the best, most professional apology I've ever seen, and it still didn't work. I'll end that here.